Hey everybody, I hope you're all well. With the sun shining on this wonderful Wednesday. Let's see my friends over on Zoom. I can see you over there too. Join with audio. Hey everybody over on Zoom. I hope you're well. Let's see who is over there from the Academy today. Welcome back. Thanks, Sarah. Sarah, I got your message as well, and I am looking forward to talking to you later. You're not getting off that lightly. Hi, Amanda. Amanda, thanks so much for all the sharing you're doing about our upcoming masterclass. Really honored by your support of our company, and congratulations, you got 2 books left. Well done, you. Hello, Claire. Looking forward to chatting to you. Hello, Dave. And Dave Sullivan, lovely chat with that very nice man, Dave Sullivan, earlier on. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you here. Dervila, I must reply to you shortly. How are you? Joanna, I think Joanna's going to come see me in Kerry soon. Hello, John. Good to see you there. John A. O'Connor, I hope you're well. Kathleen and Kay and Noel Moran and Sarah Jane and Tracy. How's it going, Tracy? I hope you're well. Yeah, it's great. It's good to be back. I would have said this morning, said, am I going to be able to hold it together on this call today and in the afternoon? But I've had a few little work interactions that helped me kind of come back. I think sometimes it's very important. I went to my mom and dad's house this morning to take over some bolognese that my wife made, this big pot of bolognese yesterday. And she was like, they'll eat it tonight when they get home from Tipperary, or they'll have it tomorrow during the day. So I was delivering portions, so they didn't have to cook a dinner today. And it was like, it was a tough little morning. And then I was like, right, I'm back to work today, and it feels good. But I will say, what I will do for those of you who don't know, I said goodbye to a wonderful uncle of mine this weekend. He's been a massive part of my life, and as a young boy, I used to head off up to Tipperary for a week of every summer and spend the majority of it with this man, driving around the country in his big Volvo truck, heading all over Ireland. He was delivering farm feeds, and I got to see the country up high in a truck. As so blessed, and especially with this gratitude challenge, I started thinking a lot of the phrases I have, the storytelling I have, comes from him. My mom and my dad are pretty good at telling stories too, but this man he had great yarns. And his little son Bernard and myself were very close in age, and sadly he was killed in a tragedy, a drowning accident in '92. So it was a very tough time for them, but it really bonded everyone and brought us all together. And we always loved going up there. And all the cousins used to go every anniversary to my Uncle Sean's house, and we'd all meet there. It seemed like that house seemed to be this real focal point for all the families to meet and get to know one another and play. And as I said, I texted Huey last night, Huey Doyle in our academy. I said, because the lads were down and they probably said, how's this South Kerry man able to use a hurley and a slitter? But it all came from his lawn in Drumineer in County Tipperary. So very fond memories. Came the end of an era in one sense. But what I will say about it is my children haven't been up as much as I've been up, and they were up this week to pay their respects and say their goodbyes. And they got to meet a lot of children their age. So that's what I was talking to my mom and dad last night on the way home in the car. I was like, I don't really live life with regret, but the regret I have is that my dear Uncle Sean didn't get to see and hang out with my children as much as I wish he'd had. And he'd also had another influence on another generation. But Mom said, well, why don't you take on the mantle now and get all of them together? So look no further. I said, that's it. I am going to do it. She gave me the answer coming home last night down the motorway. So we're meeting in a month's time, and I'm going to make sure the next generation is there, and I'll be linking them all together like he did. So beautiful, a beautiful celebration of life was had, and I just want to say a massive. We're in the gratitude month here in the academy, and to you guys in the 7 Levels of Awareness group, and to you guys watching on YouTube as well. I just want to say huge gratitude. I am honored to work with an amazing team. I can't remember how it all happened when I look back. I remember there was just me at one point, and to have such a great team of friends, people who you can feel there's a great mutual respect. If anyone needs anything, we always support one another so well. So I just want to say a massive thank you to the team for their love and support and private messages. And I could even feel them sending me health and healing and happiness. And as well to all the members of the academy for your public messages and your private messages. A massive thank you, a massive thank you. So let's skedaddle on to day number 10 of the Magic Book, where we get to sprinkle magic dust on everyone. I used the power of gratitude this morning. I went into Cahersaveen to get some lunch for myself and my darling wife, and to get some beautiful fresh cod from the fish shop to make a lovely dinner tonight for the 5 of us. And yeah, I was kind of sheepish enough in town. I was like, oh, the masks are great because people are not going to be like, how are you? And having a lot of conversations and stuff like that. So I was very focused. I was like, get to the fish shop, get to the patisserie, get into the car, get home. But while I was doing it, I was sprinkling magic dust on people. So I saw one lady, and she looked very stressed and agitated, and she was holding one of these pens, the e-cigs, and like for dear life, and she just looked frustrated. And I was just standing on the footpath talking to a friend of ours, and I was very conscious that I was answering questions about the weekend to these people who were asking about my family, and being very nice and kind, but I was aware that I was sending magic dust there. And then I went into the bakery, and everybody I met, I was sprinkling a little bit of magic dust on them. So it was nice to do it. Hey Elena, good to see you there. Very nice comments as to be expected. So I'll read some comments before I get into the lesson. Katrina, hello Katrina. I just saw you sent me a message. I'm looking forward to listening to that. And Anne, how are you, Anne? And Anne, thank your husband for his kind message yesterday. And Yellen is here as well. Great. Okay, let's now go here, and let's go over to Zoom and see who's over there. We have Amanda says, welcome back. Sarah Jen, welcome back. Family are doing good. Thank you. Dervla, good to see you. Thanks, Dervla. And Amanda here, great to keep in memory as wonderful family values. Yeah, incredible. Music was like nothing I've ever heard at the funeral yesterday. He went all over Tipperary, bringing people to sessions and connecting people. And do you know what? No, there's a fella there you need to meet, and you'd be very good playing together and all that stuff. So there was a huge musical presence in the church, which made it an incredible experience. If that's a phrase I can use, I think everybody was like, wow, what a send off. So let's look at the magic dust. So I've been doing the magic dust today, and I remember doing this. We have a helicopter. I hope it's not a rescue helicopter here passing over the house. I remember doing this the first time, and much to the detriment of a fellow who first studied with me in the academy a long time ago. He mentioned that one of the lessons we have in the academy is called lesson 8. It's called praxis, which is an integration of your belief and your behavior as you're marching forward in the direction of your goal. Sometimes you're full of belief, and your behaviors and the lack of action would really indicate that maybe you don't really believe in your goal. Maybe you don't really believe in yourself so much, because you're getting a bit down, you're sitting at home, you're not doing anything about your goal. Like maybe it's just lacking in belief, lacking in faith. Some fellas then are just out doing all the actions with no inner, they haven't put any kind of preparation, a mindset preparation into the goal. They're just tearing at it. They're these big red-faced, overweight, stressed out people who are, heading for a cardiac arrest in their 50s. These people lack the praxis balance as well. It's all action. Going my way, I'm busy. Action. They lack the belief with the behavior. So we talk about that lesson, but that's a great lesson. And as you even from my short summary there, you can see what an impactful, powerful lesson that would be. But one gentleman said one day to me, and as I said, much to his detriment, he goes, I think Bob kind of stuck that in there as a filler lesson. And I was like, what did you say? Because it's powerful. It's a great lesson. But I'm guilty of having the same feeling about this lesson. I thought, Rhonda Byrne, you just have to put in this whole lesson here now. But it's not true. I was wrong. It was a knee-jerk reaction. It's a good few years ago, so I was a completely different man back then. But I thought the same. I was like, oh, magic dust, everyone. It's absolutely gorgeous to do it. It's like one of those movies, maybe one of those kind of PG movies, maybe like a 16s or under type, or 16 or over type movie. Very, very, like what would be one like Big by Tom Hanks, or one of these, Hollywood did a lot of those in the late 80s, early to mid 90s, where it was people had like special powers and magical powers. And, there was the sitcom years ago, Bewitched, where she'd kind of wiggle her nose and she'd be able to do magic. I clearly can't wiggle her nose like her, but she would sprinkle magic dust from afar. The other one I would say is from being a dad on the couch watching hundreds of hours of Snow White, Cinderella, Rapunzel, Sleeping Beauty, all of the Disney classics. I know all the songs and the whole lot. There was the lady who came along in Cinderella, and she went bibbidi bobbidi boo, sajikatoola mijikaroo, bibbidi bobbidi boo. It's like bibbidi bobbidi boo, and she turned the pumpkin into a chariot, and she turned the mice into a horse. That's kind of what the magic dust was like. And I have no way to prove that by me sprinkling the magic dust that it doesn't work. So therefore, I've no reason to prove it does or doesn't work. So I just choose to believe it works. Nobody can disprove it. That doesn't work, Dick. Nobody can prove it works. I just love to just go, well, I think it's brilliant. When we were here in Valentia Island, myself and a bunch of the clients came down to spend time with us in August. It was just gorgeous with sunsets, and we'd hurling up in Bray Head, and we'd all different sorts of things going on. And up Bray Head is the point, it's the peninsula point in Valentia Island, and a rare sight to see hurleys and slitters on that island, I can tell you. But we were doing it, and we were having picnics and photographs, and sure, the sun was just like an actor in our movie. It just beautifully came down. A big red ball went down into the Dingle Bay. It was gorgeous. Couldn't have asked for a better conclusion to a wonderful trip. But we were there one morning. We were jumping into the water, and it was quite cold. And, you know, it was a shock to the system. I actually went swimming in Galway on Saturday morning, and it was a big shock to the system. It was cold, and I haven't swam in about 5 weeks. And it kind of got to me. I think we'd stayed up a little bit late as well. And, you know, I wasn't feeling very well at the time as well. I was a bit worried about things, a bit kind of, I suppose, mourning us a little bit. So to take a plunge, there was no point in me heading to be with my family, because the arrangements hadn't begun yet, you know, things were a bit slower. So I said, look, I might as well go for a swim with my friend. And I did out in Oranmore, out in Renville Harbour there. There was a charity swim called the Turkey Swim. And I swam, and I went in. It was very, very cold, and I was feeling a little bit anxious when I came out. And I was thinking back to the morning that seemed like nothing to me, because it was the summertime, and jumping in at 7 in the morning was even my children do it. Like, so we jumped off the pier in Valentia, and there was a moment where a couple of people jumped in, and they were feeling a bit nervous, and that's the way I was feeling. You're panicked, you're anxious, it's very cold. You're thinking, I'm going to sink here. I'm scared. Like, that's the way I was actually feeling on Saturday. So I could empathize on a greater level with the guys. But while I was there, I was standing on the pier, and I was like, right, I'm jumping in. And I was like, no, they're going to be fine, but jump in anyway. And I just, it felt like that magic dust moment where I said, instinctively, I goes, this is going to be all okay. And all of a sudden then, this mermaid just goes, like, jumps off the pier, gets in, grabs this beautiful woman, brings her into the pier, and everything was fine. And it was like magic dust. We talk about lesson 6 in the academy, where we talk about the self-image, and we speak about people being an actor in your movie. Well, you're watching the screen right now with 20 or 30 other people. The only reason we're in your life is to bring you to the next level, to help you to live that wonderful life of abundance and joy and happiness and peace and calmness and focus and discipline and top attitude. Improve your self-image, improve your wardrobe, improve your appearance, improve your inner self-image, where you know who you are and you're so happy about yourself. Like, we're only actors in your movie. And that day I stood on the pier, I was like, sprinkle the magic dust. It's like, obviously it happens in a second, because I wasn't going to spend too much time sprinkling magic dust. If somebody was in trouble in the water, I was going to get my backside in there fast. But the magic happened, and somebody went in and just did a far better job than I could. And everybody was fine. But it's something that I use for everything. Like, even when a couple of years ago, before we moved into this house, my little darling Joni, who's now 6, and at the time I suppose was 3.5, was bouncing on her sister's single bed, and then took a kind of there was a moment where when she hit the bed, one foot hit first instead of the two of them hitting together, and then that foot sent her at a 45-degree angle, and she hit the top of her head on the corner of the locker. And next thing you know, Declan and June and Joni are in the car, and we're heading for Tralee General, which is an hour and a half from Valentia Island, on a rainy December night. Because I remember, because the Christmas lights were out. And like, straight away, my instinct is like, magic dust it. I didn't know that's what I was doing. And if you remember, I had thought that this was just a bit of a filler lesson. Like, oh my God, this book is like made for you know, Instagram women from America. Like, that's literally how cynical I was about this lesson. It's like, magic dust is going to be amazing for your life. So for fuck's sake. But it's what we're doing with it. It's intention. It's Neville Goddard, an amazing author, an amazing teacher of law of vibration, law of attraction. He talks about the power of the assumption. What needs to be done between the moment you assume your goal is going to happen and the moment that it does happen? Nothing. He believes the power of the assumption is enough. Nothing. That's it. It's done. Once you've assumed it. And we're raised to believe the phrase, if you assume something, you're making an ass of you and me. Assume, ass of you and me. The assumption, in a different word, it's that screenshot you get in your imagination. That means it has to happen. It's come to you and you alone to experience it and to give it life. So you will see that goal revealed to you if you follow the certain laws and do the certain things and think and act and feel in a certain way. Well, that's what Rhonda's teaching here, is that you're directly influencing these actors in your movie, whether they're, let's say, for example, I was in Cork a few weeks ago and I was sitting outside, what's the name of that street? Not Grand Parade. Today FM used to be down there. It's some walk or something like that. Anyway, it goes down to Paul Street from Patrick Street. You walk down, it's all shopping and stuff and restaurants and Mexican restaurants and street food restaurants. And I was sitting there and it was a very sad sight because I really love children a lot and I hate to see them crying or hurt or whatever. And there was a lady going by and, she has her personal style of how to deal with a child who's crying. I'd have a different approach. Not saying I'm any better or whatever, but it was breaking my heart. I just wanted to go and say, just pick him up for a minute and just console him and he'd be grand. But she was the whole way up the street. He's like, no, mommy, please, I want to no, mommy, please. And he was just screaming. And I was like digging into my pad thai and I was looking at him and I was like, I just want to go over there and help and do some magic. So I sprinkled some magic dust. And by the time he got up to where there was a shop once upon a time called Modern up there, I remember that. Once he got to there, he was grand. And I was like, I wonder, was it? Now, I didn't actively do the magic dust because we weren't doing the book at the time. It wasn't on the tip of my tongue. But just that way of being. And the same with Joni that day. I instinctively knew on the way that she was going to be fine. Now, when we got to the local place, it was in Carsavine, the South Doc was like, no, he says, I don't deal with children. This is a head injury. It looked very superficial, like it wasn't deep. She wasn't in fear of any kind of brain injury. It was like a cut, but it was bleeding nonetheless, and it needed a stitch. And he was like, yeah, but I don't have somebody with me. She's going to be screaming. No, I'm not doing it. I was like, oh, okay. I was disappointed because it looked like it could be a glue stitch, and I couldn't care less that if we had to go to flipping Dublin, I'd go for my daughter. But it did seem like something he could deal with. We drove uptown, and this woman pulled up her black hood and ran across the road in front of us. And I slammed on the brakes and mounted the curb to get away from her. She was shocked. I was shocked. And then I thought, right, doctor, that's happened. I turned my car on and went back and I went into the place and I was like, listen. And I was like, with the attention and with the assumption, I was like, I deal with needles. I'm an acupuncturist. I blood, all this stuff. No problem. Let me help you. I'll be your assistant. And he was like, oh, okay then. So then we got it all done and everything was perfect. And Joni cried more because he actually glued his glove to her hair and we had to cut that off than the actual cut or the stitch, cutting off the hair. The silly man, he was trying to help us. I shouldn't say silly man. But, I put magic dust on the situation and I didn't know what I was doing. So it is not at all like, shame on you, Declan, for thinking like that man a few years ago that, it's only a lesson that's thrown in there. It's very advanced type manifestation, type stuff. People think that you plant the seed and it gestates and it grows. Yes, when it comes to a goal, I spoke to a wonderful guy today who's got a really good goal about lots of different things. And I said, look, some of these are long, medium and short term. Some of them can manifest anytime, but be patient with yourself, make sure you're taking care of your personal and your professional life because your professional life is ambitious. And I certainly tore into this material. It's like, I have to make my millions and I have to do it. And, sometimes I probably didn't have the balance right. It was working into results instead of thinking into results. So I made sure, as like, you have a family now and you got to make sure that you do your study, you do your action steps, but don't ignore the personal life. This is what it's all for at the end of the day, and really love into that. And what I realize now is that the long-term stuff, yes, it does have a gestation period. You plant the seed of thought. It is going to take time. It is going to take collaborations. It is going to take communications with other people, timing, availability of other people. There's a lot of things that will contribute, but you have so many actors in your movie that will contribute, like it did to our house and to the company that I'm honored to be part of. It takes collaborations. It takes time sometimes for the big goals, and sometimes they can land right in your lap. But for the small little ones, the magic dust is absolutely gorgeous. We went back to day 3, I think it was, thinking of magic relationships. So, for example, if I'm here now, I went over to my mom and dad this morning to take some food over, and a neighbor had called around to pay their respects, and she's a beautiful friend, a beautiful neighbor to all of us. And my mom was there sweeping floors, and she was quite upset. And if I think of her now today, I'll be sprinkling magic dust, and I'll be thinking about gratitude and thank you. I woke up in another uncle's house on 5 o'clock in the morning of the funeral, and I was in bed, and I was just looking at the pictures of my children in June and sprinkling magic dust, and asking her then later on the day, how'd she get on? She goes, Declan, they're like angels this morning. It's almost like they knew it was a big day, and not be acting like little muppets this morning. She goes, they're incredible. They were so good, and they got everything ready, and they were out in the car, and they were very quiet. Was it them, or was it me sprinkling magic dust from Tipperary? So like let's start combining all of these gifts that you've been giving yourself from doing this work. You're not just bystanders here. You're bringing so much to this this 28-day challenge. The comments we're getting and the connections we're getting. A lady put a lovely animation in this morning of someone blowing the magic dust, and I just looked at that and I was like, it's so cool that everyone's becoming part of this kind of a movement, or I think people are really enjoying their other worksheets that they have to do as well with our academy, with the worksheets that you guys need to do. That it's almost like giving you a renewed kind of sense of excitement and stuff in them, and that's really good to hear. Hopefully it's helping you as well about letting your goal go a little bit and trusting it and surrendering, because I think when we're grateful, we can trust and surrender a lot more. And that's a very, very advanced, that's like the polishing off of the finished character, when you really can say, I don't care that I can't see the how, but I know that's going to happen. And then you can just like watch a movie without checking your goal card or checking to see that you get an email, or where you can sit and listen to a friend in need and be with them without saying, okay, I got to go now. I got to get my goals. I got to get my big C-type goal. Surrendering to the process and the fact that you are attracting it rather than you're forcing it into your life. I think gratitude really, really helps with that as well. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you think. French Church Street. No, I don't think so. It's not French Church Street. Well, it might be. You're probably right. You are. I'm going to say you're 100% right, because if I don't know it, who might think? I thought it was something walk. What's that thing? Not Bachelor's Walk. Crane Lane. We're in the Crane Lane studios. Isn't that what they used to say on News Talk? So maybe that's the street. I don't know. Thank you. But you're right. Carey's Lane then. It's probably is. It's definitely up in the real capital anyways. That's where it is. All right. So let's hear from some of you guys. I'm going to get into the magic book, but while I'm doing this, just let's hear about some of your comments and some of the stuff maybe from the weekend. I know it's Wednesday, but it feels like back to work Monday for me a little bit. So I'd like to hear some comments and some things that you guys have been experiencing from this. Why don't you tell us some of the stuff? Okay. So ancient spiritual teachings say that what we give to another person with a full heart returns to us 100-fold. Imagine that. I think the key words in there is with a full heart. June and I read the book, The 5 Love Languages, recently, and we talked about it on the couch last night after the kids were gone to bed, and she was asking me about the day. And we were chatting away, and we were talking, so we finished the conversation about my uncle and the time we spent with him in the last few days. And we moved on then to, so how are we getting on? How are we doing? How's the family? Where are we next? What's Monday? What's Wednesday? Different things that are happening throughout November. And we just got chit-chatting about stuff. And we started talking about the love languages. And I was like, don't just be giving me, because for me, it's personal, physical touch and words of affirmation. Acknowledging what I've done well. I was like, don't just say, oh, well, well done and thank you. It's with a full heart. So I'm actually going to go back out now and say, oh, I know the words that we're missing here. I showed you my diagram that I got that Bob drew, and it's about how we can connect and how we should connect to other human beings. Let's see, is that correct there now? Yeah, you can see that. So we should connect subconscious to subconscious ahead of time. Now, I've seen a kind of some of these bogus courses you'd see on Instagram. It's like, normally it's 2,000, but today it's €47. And it was a guy talking about helping you to attract the perfect woman. Is it with precognition or something? So you're almost like pre-connecting with someone in a way, and it sounds manipulative, not with a full open heart. So he might be onto something, but he needs to get into more of the love, because that's like coercing someone through mindset, and it's not appropriate. It's not right at all, really. It's like in a sales meeting, you shouldn't be sitting there being sickeningly sweet, but really saying, I want your money, I want your money, I want your money, I want your money, I want your money. You should be saying, I really want you to help you to get your results. I really believe that what we do will help you to get there. I hope you invest in yourself. If there's any kind of subconscious dialogue, it needs to be in service of the individual. Similarly, if you're sprinkling magic dust with somebody, I was able to talk to our family friend on the footpath and look at that girl and go, oh, whatever it is, I was like, whatever it is bothering you today, I really hope it just goes away now. And I just like sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. So I think I did it with a fairly full heart. Maybe it wasn't full, but after reading that line, I'm going to be turning up the magic dust to full heart. So being grateful and saying thank you to another person for anything that you receive from them is not only urgent, it is vital to improving your life. So I talked about Wallace Wattles, and in his book, Chapter 7, The Science of Getting Rich, he says that when you are not living in full gratitude, it's like you're cutting the ties that binds you to the universe. It's like you're severing away your parachute strings that keeps you in the basket and under the what do they call it, an air balloon. You don't want to cut those strings, do you? Or your basket's going to drop. Rhonda Byrne claims here that being grateful and saying thank you to another person for anything that you receive from them is not only urgent, it is vital to improving your life. Vital. Gratitude is a powerful energy, and so whomever you direct gratitude's energy towards, that's where it goes. If you think of gratitude's energy looking like a sparkling magic dust, then you'll express gratitude in another person in return for something that you've received from them. You are literally sprinkling them with the magic dust. The powerful positive energy in magic dust reaches and affects whomever you sprinkle it on. Most of us make contact with many, many people every day. That is the truth. Whether on the phone, through email, face-to-face, at work, in a store somewhere, restaurants, elevators, buses, trains. In many cases, the people we make contact with, they deserve our gratitude because we're receiving something from them. Listen to this. Think about people who you encounter on a typical day who provide you with some kind of service, like those workers in a store or in a restaurant, people who are working in a bus or cab drivers, customer service people, cleaners, or the staff in your own work. The people who work in service are giving themselves to serve you in that moment, and you are receiving their service. If you don't say thank you in return for their service, then you are not being grateful and you are stopping the good from coming into your life. So this is something that I would really recommend you carry on. I probably always had that like impression of increased gratitude and thank you. I remember going to the Cub Scouts in Portmagee here, and when the Cubs were finished, you'd have like maybe 50 pence or a euro or pound from Granny, and you'd run over and you get golf balls and you get some pink bonbons and you get some of those larger but cheaper than a crunchy honeycombs. Remember those? There was a thin bit of chocolate but loads of honeycomb. They were my favorites, which is why I have as much metal in my teeth as probably cutlery in the drawer. But anywho, that's besides the point. I used to love running over there with all my friends and getting all the sweets. And there was one day that I was 10 foot tall. Again, of course, it's a love language of words of affirmation. Everything I said, yes, please. No, thank you. 2 of them, please. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you. Right. And at the end, she said, okay, every one of you stop. Listen. Did you hear Declan? He's the only one of you that said thanks for anything. And I was out of the shop going like, it was like Father Dougal and Father Ted, when he's like, having a talk like this, delighted with myself. But it made an impression on me. I still remember that, and I still am very proud of that. And I'm the same lady works in the same shop, and I'd say, kids, what do you say? Like children, whatever. I say thank you. What do you say? Say thank you. And they do it now themselves. It's a habit. Thank you, please may I have one of them? Thank you. It's lovely to hear it. My granny, God rest her, used to say, saying thanks costs you nothing, but it goes a lot further than money. And I was like, good on you, granny. Good on you, granny. Spot on. Okay, think about people that you've encountered in a typical day who provided you with service. Think about the maintenance workers who keep our transport systems going. They're working safely, and those who maintain and service the utilities, such as the electricity, the gas, the water on our roads. Last night, coming down from Tipperary, It was a nice all night. It wasn't too bad. But you know, it's a long old few days, and you're driving home. There was a hostage situation in Abbeyfield, and there was 10-mile tailback on both directions apparently, and it went more. Now, God be good to those people. Whatever was going on, I hope that they find some sort of a resolution and that everybody comes out of it fine. But my sister was so grateful that she came on it right on time and she was able to do a diversion and get home. I was so grateful that we'd already been through town when it started to happen. Then we got to Glen Bay, and a gentleman had an accident yesterday in a truck and the road was closed. I'm grateful he's alive. I think he's had an injury, but still in all, by the time we got there, all of the diversion was cleared and we were able to go home. Those diversions didn't clear themselves. You know, when my brother-in-law got home, he works with the electricity company, the ESB or Electric Ireland. He was no sooner in the door, ready to have a shower and go to bed, and the phone rang and he was off. There was a fire on a telephone or an electricity pole, and off he was. Last night I rang my sister, said, "Are you home? Are you safe? How are you getting on? Is everything okay? We're going to bring you dinner tomorrow and we're having a nice chat." And next thing she goes, I'm here on my own. He's after going out on call. And like, that's a cold November 2nd night after a long weekend of, you know, sleeping in someone else's house and, you know, plates of sandwiches and tea and different things, and emotional few days to go out then and into a truck and out to fix electricity cables and poles. Like, we really got to think about the people who are keeping our transport systems working or maintain our service of utilities such as electric, gas, water and roads. And, you know, I mean, it was lovely to be up in Galway and Athenry and seeing signs painted on the school, I think it was, saying, "Thank you, frontline workers." Oh, no, it was the Athenry St. Mary's GA Club have a sign up on the main thoroughfare out of Athenry as you're heading off to the motorway saying, "Thank you to the frontline workers." You know, that's something a lot of us were thinking anyway, but the masses started thinking it because, you know, the governments and the televisions were directing us to say, "Thank you, frontline workers." So it entered our mind, we accepted it, and we shared it, and it was the right thing to do. But we need to do it all the time. You know, we need to do it all the time. Everybody who takes care of you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Think about the cleaners who clean all the streets, public bathrooms, trains, buses, airplanes, hospitals, restaurants, supermarkets, and office buildings. You can't personally say thank you to all of them, but you can sprinkle them with magic dust by saying thank you next time that you pass one of them. So I remember doing the magic book, and this house wasn't built, but I used to drive in here 2 or 3 times a day. Going to work in the morning, I'd come in. Coming home from work, I'd come in. And then when the kids were gone to bed and June was getting a bit yawny herself and she was getting ready to go, I'd put on the jacket, the high-vis vest, get the lamp, bring my thinking into results. I'd think about Rich book in here, and I'd come in and I'd spend hours inside here when it was up to my knee high in blocks, up to the lentils, the timbers were on, the slates were on. I was always here. And I was going, thank you for the walls, thank you for the flooring. But I was sprinkling magic dust on everybody who contributed to the plaster, the beading, the tool hire, the tools, like everybody. I was doing it, and I didn't know I was sprinkling the magic dust. I remember when I read this book, one of the days I was driving to work, I just said, I'm just going to be grateful for the car. So I started being grateful for the electricians that did all of the electrics that helped me to drive the car, with lights, with radio, with when I click the indicator switch down, that a light comes on and it flashes to warn the people behind me, which keeps me and my children, my wife safe. When I press the brake, that the brake lights come on. So grateful for the people that made the bulb, that figured out a way that a battery can have all these wires coming out of it that goes back to a circuit system that puts lights on the thing. I mean, incredible ideas, incredible engineering. But so blasé probably to most mechanics, like, oh, sure, that's not a big deal. But it was a big deal when it first happened, you know, and it is a big deal that it works now today as well. So you can't personally say thank you to them, but you can sprinkle magic dust on them, because if you go back to a previous page, she talks about being grateful and saying thank you for another person for anything you receive from them is not only urgent, it's vital to improving your life. So you sprinkle the magic dust while you say thank you to the person in Japan that made your Toyota car. And you're like, the people that facilitated that person getting to work. Thank you to the bus drivers, the train drivers, maybe their family at home put sandwiches and a flask of tea into their bag as they headed out to work. Thank you to them. Where did they get the food? From farmers and from the shopkeeper. Thank you to them. So let's have a little look here. I lost my phone on the first day in Berlin. My husband called my phone and the taxi driver answered it. Then he laughed, saying he was kilometers away, and he drove back to our hotel, brought it back to me with a big smile on his face. We had a wee chat and a laugh, and I gave him a tip which he refused, but I made him take it. Plus, everyone is smiling here, being so helpful, etc. I do not speak German. Also, some other small, lovely things. Hang on. Also, some other small, lovely things are happening here. Well, that's good to know. Very good. Very glad to hear that. Hide. Good. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see over on Facebook. Pardon me, over on Zoom, some of the stuff that's coming through. Candy Crush. The Mardyke Walks is clear, no? I've been expressing gratitude for the ability to help beginner writers, and I've been asked by a company to collaborate with them in doing manuscript appraisals and reader reports. I'm absolutely thrilled that I get to share my knowledge and help writers to perfect their stories. Deirdre, how are you, Deirdre? She goes, I did my friend and her mom's hair at the weekend, and she said, "Oh, what do I owe you?" I said the normal amount, which is almost always less than what you pay a hairdresser. When I got home, she'd given me much more. I messaged and said, "Thank you and thank you and thank you." But why did she give me so much? Why did you give me so much more, Nuala? And she said, "You deserve it. You deserve it, pal. You manifested it for yourself." That was lovely. You must have been like, wow. Hi, Tracy. Good to see you here. Claire says, "Hi, Declan. On one of my days, I listed gratitude for all the clients since I first started counseling. I expressed gratitude for the amazing experiences, the privilege that it was that they chose me, and the great teachings to be had from our many conversations, etc., etc. In the last week, I've had about 5 people contact me to ask about appointments. One has booked 25 sessions. 2 more have made an appointment for this week, and I'm waiting to hear back from the others. Last week, I had no appointments in my book, and I kept saying the affirmation that you shared about accepting X number of clients daily and easily and effortlessly, etc., etc. 2 inquiries came from my new website. It's now becoming active at last. I'm so happy and grateful for sharing this win. Everybody, can you just share some love Claire's way? That is brilliant. And everybody's here saying, well done to you as well, Claire. Amanda says, fantastic. Denise says, wonderful. I'm currently on a network day in a hotel. I lost my tablet. I knew it would turn up and a woman found it. What an angel. Noel, I was very grateful a few days ago when I was about to bite another individual for their unacceptable behavior, but I defaulted quite quickly. To that, I am very grateful for my patience and just completely dissolved the unwanted feelings that I had. That's top class, Noel. That's top class. They always say you can really, it's your own self you can change, and hopefully the reasons that they might have perhaps deserved a little bit of telling off, hopefully it hasn't affected you too much, and that it's something that's all resolved now, and you've moved on, and it's a done deal, thanks be to God. Really good stuff. Now, Claire, I want to talk to you about you there, because we have some people who, they want clients, they want appointments, they want bookings, and what I told Claire is not unlike what you will have heard from me. You got to get your gold card, you got to look in the mirror, and you got to say, I'm so happy and grateful now that this has happened or that has happened, or this many clients I've seen by Friday. You got to celebrate and go, yes, okay? You've got to really celebrate it, like for something that you just are so proud of that happened in your life. So the reason I know that it works is that's what I did that was my first TIR testimonial. Like from having probably 10 appointments a week to having 19 a day at times. Like my goal was to earn 2,000 a week, which would have been 40, 50 euro appointments. So 40 appointments in the clinic and I'd make $2,000. For 40, 50s, right? Obviously you have to pay tax and that and all that different stuff, all of that. But I couldn't believe it when I did TIR, and I'm so happy and grateful that I have 5 wonderfully happy clients every single day. They pay up front and in full, and they refer people to me every single day. And the yoga teacher I was working with at the time, Alex, came into the clinic one day and she was like, Can I talk to you for a second? Can I talk to you for a second? I was like, yeah, I went into this little cloakroom, and at the beginning of Friends, there's a scene where 2 of the women dance like they're dancing like that. That's the way we were inside. There's the main room, there's a little cloakroom, and there's a toilet. And we were standing in the little cloakroom together going, because she'd seen me struggling, she'd seen me build this big new clinic in the middle of Carsabine, and this has got to work, and I know I'm going to make it work, and I'm doing TIR, and it's going to work. And I looked in the mirror, and I was like, I'm so happy and grateful that I have 5 clients a day. I'm so happy and grateful I have 5 clients a day. And then I started asking for help and from support and checking about things and finding out. And somebody was like, oh, so you want stinky, mean, rude clients? I was like, No. So what type of clients do you want? I was like, I'm so happy and grateful for nice clients. And she was like, how about wonderfully happy, satisfied clients? And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds good. So I had my affirmation like really clear, and I would say it into the mirror, and then I'd celebrate 3 times. So I'm very blessed that we've had 3 children. Junie has had 3 children, Layla, Dylan, and Joni. I was there for each of the 3 of them being born, and I remember the moment. So I look in the mirror and I go, I'm so happy and grateful now that this has happened. Let's say I'm so happy and grateful now that I have 5 wonderfully happy clients every single day. Yes. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've won. And I think of Layla being born. I go, yes. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've 5 wonderfully happy clients every single day. And I go, yes. And I think of where Dylan was born. So I remember where Layla was, we were right by the door. Where Dylan was, we were in a different room, and there was 2 student nurses there, and I can see the whole thing, and I go, yes. And I feel it in my body. I feel the result. And Claire, that's what I asked her to do, and she did it. But also, the other ones are coming back. You're giving gratitude now, Claire, for the affirmation. So that's why that's like almost like, people skip. Like one of the top people in Bob's company. We talk a lot, and I said to her, they don't ever ask, because people are always asking us for help and advice. He goes, they never ask what we're studying, do they? And she was like, no. It's like, is it LinkedIn? Is it Facebook? How much are you spending on advertising every month? And I was like, nearly 100% don't say like, so what are you studying? What are you doing with your mindset? And that's why they're struggling. You've got to get into the mindset, and getting into the mindset is gratitude is just so powerful attraction. So when you're in a cafe today or a restaurant, sprinkle magic dust on everyone and say thank you as they serve you. Whether cleaning the table, giving you the menu, receiving your order, filling your glass of water, serving the meal you ordered, clearing the table, giving you the bill, taking your change, remember to say thank you every single time. So I'm going to let you read through the rest of that chapter. It's quite long, and we're going to talk about what needs to be done then today, okay? So for counting your blessings, you've done that. I did that last night before bed and did it again this morning. It's brilliant. Are you all feeling and finding that you can think of more than the first list of 10? Like, are you expanding to that? I hope you are, because I really hope you are, not because, if you're not, then, you're not doing it right. I'm just saying for you, I mean, if you list the same 10 things every day, I'm not going to tell you that it's bad. Not at all. Who am I to say that's the wrong thing? But what I will say is, if you get into the habit of seeking out good, so we have a candle burning over here, and grateful for the lovely smell, and grateful for June lighting the candle, and grateful for our lovely friend Deirdre gifting us that candle. Behind it then is a lovely, what's it called? Aloe vera plant. I'm grateful that it is growing 3 or 4 other aloe vera plants from it. I'm grateful for the woman who bought us that. She's a New Zealand girl living in Valentia. I was like, so grateful. So you can have your list of 10, but my God, you can see when you get into the habit of looking for 10 more. Like, I'm grateful not only for this poem that June gave me for a big award I got in September, but I'm grateful for the poet himself, because his name is David White, and I read his poem the last day about Santiago, didn't I? I'm just grateful for that. I can't wait to mount that and put it on my new office. So today, sprinkle magic dust on 10 people who perform services that you benefit from, and by acknowledging them and thinking them directly, or otherwise by mentally acknowledging them and thanking them. Feel grateful to them for the service they provide. Just before you go to sleep tonight, don't forget the magic rock. Hold it in one hand and say thank you for the best thing that has happened to me during the day. And read throughout tomorrow's practice today, because the practice for day 11 begins when you first wake up. So that's important. Magic morning. So tomorrow's a magic morning, and we have a lot of people in the academy. Of course, you do your 6 a.m. club, so you'll be doing your magic morning anyway. But for the rest of you, I'm also going to be talking about it, because I do my Wednesday call, my Thursday call at 8 a.m. anyway. So we're going to be doing our magic morning together. So really have a look at that and read ahead. Let's see who's there. Very good. Somebody goes, this is the first session I've tuned into. Can I recap? Yeah, they're all there in videos individually. I need to figure out how to make a guide, and maybe we can put all of them into one guide as well, so you can catch up. Yeah, I will get you a book. You're going to have a success advisor helping you as well, so we can either get you a PDF, or you can go and order your own book. But you can catch up, no problem. We're just, I would say, a third of the way there, isn't that right? Yeah, just over a third of the way there, so you'll be fine. Oh, Yelena is going to make a guide now. Sprinkling magic dust on everyone. Of course you are. All right, everybody. So let's have a little. Oh, brilliant. I haven't read these comments yet. Sorry, where did they hide away from me for? Oh, I wish I had someone to love me. Okie dokie. I saw a comedian one day and he was saying, where did okie dokie came from? It's very funny actually. Can't think of his name now. He was like, okie dokie, I think we say it to mean okay. And he was like, does okay mean a short version of okie dokie? Is like okie dokie. And he was like, if you use okay or use okie dokie in different circumstances. So he goes, imagine going into a bank and it's like, okie dokie, hands up, everybody. You know, bank robbers go, okay, hands up. It's like, okie dokie, hands up. And it's like, put the money in the bag and then hand it over to me. And they're like, oh, you know, say, okie dokie, do it now. So anyway, it's just a memory I got when I heard myself saying okie dokie. It's a very funny skit. I can tell you he does it better than I do. Bernie says, the exact same thing happened to me in Spain. I left my phone in a taxi. He came back 15 kilometers and he flatly refused the tip. Wow. Maria says, Declan, thank you, Declan and the team. And thank you to the staff in the hospital who are taking such wonderful care of me. Even though they're short-staffed and working so hard, they are amazing. Well, Maria, I'm sure you're an amazing person to have there. And I'm sorry to hear that you're in hospital at the moment. Someone said that's an amazing result, Claire. And it is. Hey, Anita, she goes, last week, funding where I was okay. So last week, funding where I work was a little tight. I had wages to pay. I thanked work for the money, for the wages, and on Monday we received an unexpected donation. That's so cool. Somebody says all the suggestion and gratitude are two powerful forces. Definitely. Great results, Claire. That's amazing, Anita. Well done, Claire. Wishing you a speedy recovery. Somebody else says. Somebody says, I'm so happy and grateful that I have also sprinkled magic dust on 10 people today. Well, that's really good to hear. And I would take one little last check over on Facebook. So yeah, we'll be back tomorrow morning. Where's Zoom gone? Oh, there you are, there, guys. So yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and I'm looking forward to that. And at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're going to be going to day 11. So it's the magic morning practice. So have a little read ahead, please, and we will see you then. Amanda, I feel great. I find gratitude is popping into my head throughout the day, and I'm expressing thanks for even the smallest things throughout the day. Yeah, it's great, Amanda. It's so good. Fair play to Rhonda Byrne. Like, I mean, we have to send her credit and send her some magic dust today. That's pretty cool what she did, putting that together. Dervla, I'm giving huge gratitude today that I got a call yesterday. I'll be starting back on my cantor job in a church in Dublin after no singing since the first lockdown. That's amazing. That is amazing. That is so good. I'm so happy for you. Claire, yes, it's amazing what comes up for gratitude, and it's lovely. I knew, like, I hate saying I told you so. I knew this would happen. And everyone starts getting into gratitude. Magic happens. You see, magic happens. Rhonda, you clever clogs. The gratitude where we express gratitude for the abundance we receive free into our lives up to the age of 18 brought tears to my eyes as I remembered the loving and happy house I grew up in a small farm in South Galway. Happy days indeed. So grateful for them and wonderful parents and grandparents. Yeah, it is. It really, really, really is. So what can I leave you with today? I didn't think of something, but something is tapping at my head to leave you with something. Yeah, I think in particular for the members of the Academy, I think what I've learned from, for the first time in a long time, being very closely involved with one outcome in life that is very much something every one of us are going to do, and that is we will take our last breath and we will move into the next life, in the next world, whatever is to come. And it really drove home for me. I've been at a lot of funerals, and June put it very well last night. The overwhelming energy, and be it sadness and celebration, the overwhelming moment that seemed to be across such a broad spectrum. He touched the lives of young people, teenagers, men, women, adults, older people, clergy, Gardaí. Like, he just was such an all-rounder. And I think, because I was just going to say goodbye, and I was like, no, there's something else to say. And I think what I'm getting is this, especially the guys who are already in the academy. Don't take your eye off the fact that there is a personal goal that you're working on as well. You're doing your personal and professional life. Because this was such a celebration yesterday in praise of living the good life, the human connection, the doing small little things every day, all the time, instead of that chasing up a hill to get that, boom, we put the flag on Everest, and that's defined me. I climbed Everest. He did small acts of kindness to seemingly everyone, whether it was words of affirmation, whether it was acknowledging something they did for him. I noticed from a very young age how differently he communicated with people then, with such an open heart and with such courage, because that whole slag mentality, especially with fellas, he seemed oblivious to that, and he seemed like he didn't give a crap if he was being himself. He didn't care if they, he just was himself, and he always had these little funny jokes, and you heard him 100,000 times, but they were still great. And he knew himself. He really was true to himself. And I think that's something I would say to everyone, especially the clients in the academy. Don't forget, on lesson 1, you filled out personal and professional life. And I think a lot of the questions I get and a lot of the conundrums you face is, how am I going to get that professional? I think the more you pay attention to the personal, the more that professional is going to come skipping down the road to you. Okay, so that's something that's really, it didn't kind of hit me from a place of lack, because I really do value my personal life. Probably the personal lives of my children, my wife, my family, and you guys in your families. Probably I probably have a lot of my emphasis on that as well. My own personal enjoyment is something I look forward to doing a lot more of. The health and the music and the stuff that the swimming and the kayaking and stuff that gardening stuff I have been putting on the long finger, with putting my responsibilities first, and that's okay. But I make sure the personal side of my life, like June and the children and my parents and things, is well taken care of, and I value that a lot. But you have to value your own enjoyment of this life as well. And I know my uncle, God rest him, really did what he did because he loved doing it. And don't ignore your personal side of your goal. Okay, really pour some magic dust into that for yourself, for your enjoyment of it. Sing something today because you like singing. Cook something today for somebody because you love to give them. If they say, "Oh, it's too salty or it's too hot," or I might freeze it if you don't mind. It doesn't matter about their consumption of it. It matters that you've made it for them. Do make sure that your personal goal is being taken good care of, and make sure that a lot of that is coming back to you. Okay, that's it. That's what I'd like to say. All right. All the best, my dear friends, and we'll see you at 8 bells tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.